Hello, everyone. So we will start slowly. My name is Alexandra Dorca, and I'm the director of l'Alliance Française de Seattle. Just a quick reminder or heads up about this Rencontre. So this is a project that the Alliance Française de Seattle started in 2020 in the COVID context. As we were not able to physically get together for social events, we had this idea to launch a new online program with small talks, 15-minute talks followed by Q&As with people from La Francophonie. Who would share, their work, their passion, their specializations. This is the 9th Rencontre. We received in the past people from arts, from more of the official representation sphere, the former General Counsel of France in San Francisco. And now it is my very, very pleasure, and some of you might know why. As you know, I moved to Seattle from Montreal, so I'm very, very happy to welcome today Philippe Huneault. Philippe Huneault, he has been the Quebec's delegate in Los Angeles since 2019. Previously, he worked in public and private corporate financing and business development, innovation. He traveled a lot, so he worked in Europe and Canada. Now he's in the United States. Very interesting. I found, when I was looking a little bit his biography. So he co-founded Eco Capital, promoting small and medium-sized businesses, which is something that we support here in Seattle. And he was also a managing partner at Mayfair. And I found it interesting because this was a firm or is specialized in providing strategic consulting services, including the smart city initiatives. I don't know if you are aware of that. We speak a lot all over the world about the smart cities. And as far as I know, Seattle tries to become one of those. He has served a number of boards of directors, including the Montreal's Quartier de l'Innovation. And this is really interesting because he will speak today about innovation precisely. And he's not alone here. I will let him introduce his colleagues. Don't forget, we organized this in the month of Francophonie. As you know, the Alliance promotes the French language and Francophone cultures. And we are in the middle of the special Quebec week. In addition to this Rencontre, we are showing with their support 2 Quebec movies. So when you go on our website, you can RSVP to have the codes, and then we will host a Ciné Salon Spécial Québec on Friday. So, Monsieur Huneault, la parole est à vous.
Bonjour, merci Alexandra. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Je vous remercie de m'accueillir aujourd'hui. Hello everyone. Thank you for having me today. As Alexandra mentioned, I am the Quebec delegate in Los Angeles and Silicon Valley. With my team, we promote Quebec interests and policies, not only in California, but also in the 12 other states of the West Coast, including the Washington state. Today, I'm very pleased to be here and to be with 2 of my colleagues, and from my Los Angeles office and San Francisco office, I'm Catherine Briand-Fortin, Director of Public Affairs in Los Angeles, and Dario Bosniak from our Immigration Department. In fact, for about 1 year now, we have been ramping up our presence here in Seattle and in the Pacific Northwest in general, since we believe that there are a lot of opportunity for Quebec to collaborate with this region. For instance, the fight against climate change. We also believe that the Pacific Northwest is a very interesting market for many innovative products, service, and technologies developed in Quebec. And finally, We also recognize that there is a tremendous talent here, and we are hopeful that some people, maybe you perhaps, will be willing to consider immigrating to pursue professional opportunities in Quebec. Today, I want to speak about Quebec, obviously, but I want to go about it in a different way. So I decided to talk about innovation and creativity, which we have a lot in Quebec. I will not be able to cover all aspects of innovation in Quebec since there are many, but I've chosen a few that I hope that will be interesting to you and give you a glimpse of into our society, culture, and economy. Firstly, I would like to talk about hydroelectricity. Hydropower is extremely important in Quebec, not only because its development onshored in an area of modernity, but also because it underpins so many of the action we've undertook since then, and in terms of sustainable development, the fight against climate change, and the development of clean technology and transport electrification. Just to give you a little bit of background, in 1960, Quebec entered in a period that historians now call the the Quiet Revolution. The year before, in 1959, Quebec Premier Duplessis, who was in power for about 20 years, passed away. Mr. Duplessis' government was extremely conservative, and his area is called the Grande Noirceur, the Great Darkness in French, in English. So in 1960, with a new government in power, Quebec embarked for a period of reform and modernization. Major electric projects began in northern Quebec, as well as the accompanying electric grid to bring power to Quebecers, to the majority of which live on the south of the province. As a result of these projects, Quebec enjoys almost 100% carbon-free electricity today, which is remarkable. But that was only the beginning for our quest to tackle the climate change challenge. In 2006, we put in place the carbon tax. In 2013, a cap and trade program to reduce emission from industrial sources. And in 2014, we linked our program to California's cap and trade system to create a North American carbon market. So we are the co-funder with California states. This program is the first to be designed and managed by subnational government in different countries, operating in different language and currency. Quite an innovative system, let me tell you. Since 2013, all the revenue generated by the carbon market, more than 4.5 billion Canadian dollars, have been invested in the Electrification and Climate Change Fund to finance measures that support cities, companies, and private citizens in reducing the GHG emission and adapting to the impact of the climate change. Some of these funds have supported the development of companies that now have an international presence. For instance, the Lion Electric Company manufacture now 100% electric school buses, transit buses, Class 8 truck, as well as refuse trucks. They have a presence in California and in other development market in the region, just like in the Pacific Northwest, and other market as well. And Lyon is not the only one. Quebec is home to a thriving smart and electric ground transportation sector, which contribute to 1.3 billion to Quebec's GDP annually and support more than 6,000 jobs. We even have a company, Taiga Motors, that manufacture 100% electric snowmobile and watercraft. Going forward, we are excited to continue developing our capabilities to create a sustainable lithium battery and battery recycling ecosystem in Quebec. With our high caliber research, strategic mineral reserve, and technical know-how, we are confident that we can become the source of green batteries for North America and support the large-scale transition to electric transportation that we need to significantly reduce GHG emission. And this is a priority that I know that the people of Seattle have as well. Now, let's talk, and Alexandra was referring to the smart city, but more precisely, artificial intelligence. touch on research a little bit in this presentation. And as you know, Quebec, as you know, but I would like to tell you, Quebec is a major source of innovation. One of the areas that we are recognized now as leader is artificial intelligence. Montreal is home of TUMILA, the world's largest academic research lab in machine learning. It was funded in 1993 by Professor Joshua Benjou from University of Montreal. In 2018, Professor Benjou, along with two colleagues, received the Turing Award, often referred as the Nobel Prize of Computing, for their conceptual and engineering breakthrough that have made the deep neural network in a critical component in computing. Montreal is also the home of Scale AI, Canada's AI supercluster. And in the last few years, many major technologies companies, including Google, Samsung, IBM, Microsoft, and Facebook, have open AI research lab in Quebec, led by well-renowned researchers such as Joël Pinault, Darina Prekop, Gregory Dudek, Hugo Larochelle, and Irina Rich, just to name a few. Finally, we are proud to be the host of the International Observatory of the Societal Impact of AI and Digital Technology, which has more than 100 international partners and works to maximize the positive effect of AI and digital technology on society and minimize the negative impact. Now, I would like to switch gear and talk about culture. Alexandra mentioned that there's two movies that will be projected during this week because cinema and television are very important in Quebec. As a French-speaking province in North America, we need to produce content in order to have movies that shows not only in French, but also that reflect our culture, our values, and society. We have developed a large and sophisticated industry in Quebec that includes animation, sound, production, visual effect, post-production studio. This ecosystem allows us to produce high-quality content for our own market and also to work on huge Hollywood production. Innovation in this sector is key. Our studio are state-of-the-art, and one of them, Mel Studios, they've been even created a virtual production stage with a LED wall that was built in collaboration with another Quebec company, Solotech, and it's powered by Epic Games Unreal Engine because the gaming industry is very predominant as well in Quebec. This virtual stage allows special effect to be integrated in the content in real time. It enables creators to deliver cutting-edge content, interactive experience, and immersive virtual worlds. Speaking of immersive environment, Quebec is also widely recognized as a leader in the development of immersive content. For example, Montreal Felix and Paul Studios is currently in talk with organizations in Seattle to launch their immersive experience that use footage that was shot in the International Space Station. Moment Factory, another blue flagship company from Quebec, used virtual production was used for virtual production for the recent Billie Eilish live stream concert. And some company even have immersive project for amusement park, so you can stop the progress and the creativity of the Quebec industries. The last element that I would like to talk about, and very often you said, Philippe, why are you talking culinary scene and innovation? The two are linked. If you know Quebecers, or if you have been in Quebec, you'll know that gathering among friends and family with good food and wine or local artisanal beer or spirits is central to our culture. We also have some of the most talented chefs and celebrated restaurants in the world. Chef like Martin Picard of Au Pied de Cochon, for example, who has been elevating Quebec cuisine for 20 years. He even opened a sugar shack, which is a very traditional establishment in Quebec where every spring sap is collected from sugar maple trees and boiled into maple syrup. Sugar shacks typically have receptions hall and serve food, but Martin Picard took this tradition, added his trademark creativity, and created such a sought-after experience that it's typically completely sold out even at the beginning of the season. Other culinary institutions like include the Toqué, Joe Beef, and Montreal Plaza while the food of these restaurants is refined and serious, the presentation often is quite one-cycle, especially in Montreal Plaza with the plastic dinosaur decorating some of the dishes. Wine lists are also expanding into interesting direction, for instance, with natural wines from unconventional region of the world. Finally, reflect the great diversity that we have in Quebec. Some of the finest restaurants reflect cuisine from Syria, Greece, Italy, Vietnam, or Latin America, just to name a few. Thank you for letting me present today, and I look forward to some of your questions from you, Alexandra, or any members of the audience, and it has been an honor and a pleasure to be with you, and let's open the session.
Thank you so much. So don't forget, Diane sent you an email. You can submit your questions in writing in the Q&A, in the chat, and then we will addressing. I would like to, because I always like to talk about that, and we discussed previously, you know, when we were setting up the meeting here, and because you mentioned cuisine, this is something, and some of our students observed it as well. It is very different of what we can eat in BC, for example, and in Quebec. Why do you think there is this phenomenal mixture of cuisine and even la cuisine québécoise? Do we have une cuisine québécoise, or is it a mirror of everyone who lives there?
You give me the world. I would like the easy answer will be that it's a mirror of everybody. But just look at the moment, we're 8.5 people, and we're proud of our diversity. For example, in 2019, we had 40,000 immigrants that came from all over the world. We'd like to do more, but at the moment, this is the numbers that we have. 35% came from Asia, I think 49% from, 49% from Asia, 35% from Africa, 12% from Europe. So basically, this gives you a melt of everything. And there's not such a Quebec cuisine. I think that there is a way of innovating to take the best of every gastronomy and make one. And because in Montreal, you will find very good Italian, like in any cities, you will tell me, a very good Italian restaurant, but you will have very contemporary restaurant and very diversified offer. It's the way it's been offered. And at the moment, and once again, it was important for me to associate innovation with the displeasure of life, if you want, because more and more the chefs are more an entrepreneur, and they have to make sure to find their niche. Because when you're used to be, like I mentioned, 8.5 million among 300 million of English culture surrounding you, you always have to ask yourself, and this is shown in our cinema as well, how can you be different? How can we be unique? And how can we assume what we are and put the creativity that are, in this case, of our chef in order? And if you look to the 100 top restaurant every year, there's a lot of Quebec restaurants that shows up.
And, you know, I know there is a political also willingness to preserve the language, but there is also a political willingness to preserve the heritage and the community, la communauté immigrante. Can you talk a little bit more how exactly the province welcome all these people all in the while, and, you know, teaching them French sometimes, because some of them, they don't speak French, but also promoting or letting them be preserve their ethnic heritage.
This, my colleague Dario that introduced you a little bit earlier will complete the answer that I will give you, or will give you a more practical way if you want. But I think it's essential for us to promote, I would not say political or pretend. I think that we put in place some elements in order to protect the French language, which is important. And very often, I remember when I was young, the French government, the French people from France, they were laughing at it. But at some point of time, you know, there is some word, and we were, I think, able, and they finally they passed some laws that look like us. So I think for us, it's not more to protect, but to affirm. and to evaluate inside the French criteria. And basically people that choose to establish in Quebec, for sure they come for the opportunity, they come for maybe because they like the four seasons and everything, but it's an opportunity for also them and their family to add a culture, which is so valuable, because very often immigrants, they come with their culture. There is the American culture, but if you can add another one, is very, very interesting. And it's so true that in many provinces, there is the parents, they sleep outside 24 hours to make sure that their kids will go to French immersion school, because they want to offer them the luxury of having a second language, and more than a language, the culture that goes with it. And maybe Dario, you would have some more serious background to it. Oh, Dario, is coming.
I'm just trying to put my video on. All right.
Hey, don't. You're such a nice person. You should not remove the video. Give the opportunity of every participant to see you.
So yeah, I think Philippe is definitely right with the importance not only of having multiple cultures and the exposure that you get in Quebec to North America, to Europe, because of this French connection, and to the unique Quebec culture that we have and language that we have specific to our territory, just specific to us as a nation, and globally to all these people from all around the world, bringing their own cultures and having this very, very specific mix that I don't think you can find in many other places. You can find multicultural places, but that kind of mix is very hard to find. And the Quebec government offers a huge, I would say, set of tools for people to study the language when they want to immigrate from abroad, while they're immigrating, and once they have arrived in their business and outside of the business, or in the school system and outside of the school system. So it's really interesting if you want to catch another language, or specifically French, to have the Quebec experience.
But what I found interesting when, I was living there is the fact that basically, bluntly put, there is no assimilation. And this is, I think it's very interesting from an a personal identity point of view and a collective identity point of view, because we as immigrants, we don't necessarily feel that we have to become Québécois. We can be what we are.
But, I'm sorry to interrupt, but to become Québécois is for you to keep your culture in a surrounding of a Francophone, and in the best what we can find in North America as well.
So this is, that's why I asked you, because this is, I never had the feeling, and I met so many people with so many backgrounds, and I never had a feeling, that these people, they were in a position saying, oh, I should not speak, I don't know, German or Romanian or anymore. I want to speak French to become Québécois. No, so it's it's a very interesting, kind of a fluid identity where you can be what you are, you can bring your luggage with you, and then you can feel or learn or become little by little Québécois.
And it leaves room to creativity.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Because basically, and this is what we see when we discuss about cuisine. And I think this is what we see with the art as well. And maybe I'd like you to, talk a little bit of how, because I know what you said to me about the winter. The truth is that winter is very difficult.
It's not very difficult. It's becoming warmer and warmer. And as I mentioned to you, there's no big cold. There's only bad clothes.
But this is also surprising on how this, the people there, they became very creative, even with the cold and all this, snow and everything. And there are great festivals in January, and they invented, the Lumière à Montréal and so on. So, and then they have this absolutely great, and I think it's very well known here in Seattle, the Jazz Festival in Montreal, and the summer is spectacular as well. So can you comment a little bit about that?
about the cultural scene and everything. I think that every season has its particularity. When you are, I'm living in right now, and I'm based in Los Angeles. It's wonderful, but you know, weather is quite nice every time. So, and as I mentioned, every season has its own particularity and make you appreciate every aspect of it. So for sure, we have a lot of festival, and once again, it's a demonstration of our cultural specificity and the great talent that we have. You know, when we look at that, you know, we're still only 8.5 million population, and it's funny because when the French, the Quebec television, they're producing, you know, they're not exporting some content, they're not exporting series from the United States. It's accessible, especially now with the streaming platform. But you know, there's at prime time, the majority, I'll say 90% of the shows are produced in Montreal and Quebec. And when you look the rating of these shows compared to the rest of Canada, they're having more auditoire. Their auditory is even better than what it is because, you know, it's connect with the real reality, and we develop this ecosystem. And this ecosystem, as I was mentioned, allow us to welcome some super production as well from Hollywood and elsewhere because we were able to develop this talent. But you know, we're just starting to find some deal. For example, the last movie of Ricardo Trogi, Le Guide de la Famille Parfaite, Ricardo Trogi, that has been doing a trilogy that was very funny, 1981, 1984, and 1987, I think is the last one. He just sold his movie to Netflix. So now we're starting to export this talent, export this product in through the world. It's that because you know, as you know, with the streaming platform, the day that you're on, your film is translated in 20 language and available around the world. So maybe Anne-Catherine, that is also responsible for the culture at our office, I will give her the opportunity maybe to complete my my question and add for the benefit of our people.
Yes, thank you, Philippe. Well, like Philippe mentioned, I mean, I think the fact that we have, you know, a unique culture, that we are a French-speaking province in North America, that we also have this this openness to the world, really, and that we have so many people from all over the world choosing to live and work in Quebec. I think all of these factors contribute to a very innovative and creative cultural scene. We have some of our directors are very well known now in the US, and that's always extremely impressive to me. People like Denis Villeneuve, like Jean-Marc Vallée, like Xavier Dolan, for example. Some of our movies were selected as, or nominated rather, as Best International Feature Films at the Academy Awards over the years. One of our films even won in 2004, Les Invasions Barbares from Denis Arcand. So, you know, it's definitely very impressive, and we're always happy to share that with the world and to welcome the world as well to Montreal and Quebec through all of those festivals that you were talking about. It's a source of great pride for us.
I have a question related to that from Daryl, who says, other than travel, which he plans to do post-COVID, what are ways a Seattleite, so someone from Seattle, can connect with Quebec? You mentioned a lot of tech, and he's in tech, so perhaps that area is a place to focus as well.
It's very close to nature. I think that the quality of life, and what we heard about Seattle is the quality of life, the way not to be able to have large corporation like you have with the Microsoft and the Amazon of this world, but have this human touch, and the city is still yours. You didn't touch Las Vegas with your, I'm sorry about that, with the city and the people that are with it. So I think that the size as well of big cities in Montreal, if I compare Montreal and Seattle, there's a lot of connection to that, and the value of the people, nature, very climate conscious are an important thing as well. And so this is how we can really have a reciprocity between people in Seattle and Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you could answer this question. You live both.
Yeah. But I still think, maybe I should not go public, maybe. I still, because I definitely, enjoy Seattle, and now I've been here for a while. But there is, this is what I miss the most, and that's why, it was even for me very interesting. I always try to understand why there is this, not touch, it's really people. I found people are very creative, and my anthropological explanation, and I told you before, it's the winter, when it's so long and so cold, you don't have a choice then to be close to your neighbor, because it's a matter of survival. It was a matter of survival at the beginning of last century, and I think that built a lot. So I have a question, because we started a little bit late.
And it's only, if I just want to add to what you said, it's just not only the climate. If you look to the history of Quebec, with the Anglophone that come in and everything, and it's only, I talked about the Great Revolution at the 60s, where basically it was the first time that we're saying, let's take our economy in charge and everything. But even at my father's level, all the boss of the company, they were Anglophone and everything. So it's kind of a new generation, two generation of basically taking its place. So we are a teenager in America compared to the emancipation of what we have. So there is this energy comes from this place as well. It's only since the 1970s that Francophone are president of companies and everything. So this kind of proudness of the what you are, it started to emerge. So yes, the cold and everything get you closer, but at the time, we were of our grandparents, you needed to be close, because there was a minority that were controlling the country and the province, and now it's the Quebec, everybody, even it's not a question if you're a Francophone or an Anglophone or German or Romanian, it's you take the best person in order to run the thing. But for sure, to be successful, you need to be aware of the environment that you are in.
So I will ask two more questions, because we started a little bit late, and then I know we are, because it's a very interesting discussion. So how do you compare this capacity of innovation, in Quebec to the rest of Canada? What's different?
First of all, Quebec is the place where we invest the more in R&D. For example, annual investment from memory is our 2.6 billion, but I know it's the first rank in Quebec. And once again, if you want to be different, if you want to be successful in your 8.5 million versus the 300 million, you need to reinvest. You need to reinvest. And there is great entrepreneurs. And Quebec also, and I think it's certainly a dimension that is important, was a province of entrepreneurs. Compared to the rest of it, we used to say that Quebec is an economy of entrepreneur, and the rest of Canada was more an economy of headquarters of big companies coming from the States, for example. It changed a little bit, but we needed to be king in our domain and master of our domain and make sure that we were able to succeed. So this was the most important thing that reflect. And once again, technology, research, entrepreneurial, it's always the key in order to make sure that you're, it's key for our survival, basically, our economic survival, our cultural survival, and in order to maintain who we are.
Donc pour clore, est-ce que vous pensez que on a trouvé la bonne formule, le bon équilibre au Québec avec ce genre de politique d'assimilation en Europe et le melting pot à l'américaine? Vous pensez que cette formule, un peu du multiculturalisme, ça fait l'affaire?
Tout à fait, car maintenant, la majorité de la croissance passe par l'immigration. Et comme vous savez, le Québec a certains pouvoirs à l'immigration. Il peut choisir ses immigrants. Et ça, c'est important parce que les gens qui viennent s'établir chez nous, c'est parce qu'ils le veulent. Et comme je le disais tout à l'heure, ils acceptent et ils adhèrent à cet élément-là. Ils voient une différence avantageuse pour eux et leur famille. Ne jamais oublier ça. Souvent, les immigrants, Ils viennent pour eux, mais ils le font souvent, la majorité des sacrifices qu'ils font, ils le font pour leur famille et les générations qui vont les suivre. Donc ça aussi, c'est important. Donc, je pense qu'on réussit à avoir cet équilibre-là. Est-ce qu'on peut faire mieux? La réponse est oui. Est-ce qu'il y a encore des défis? La réponse est oui. Est-ce qu'il faut encore se battre en Amérique pour préserver notre culture? C'est un combat de tous les jours, mais c'est plus qu'un combat, c'est une façon de vivre.
Écoutez, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Huneault. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Don't forget, we have our Québec spécial Ciné Salon open to all on Friday. The second movie, Les Fleurs Oubliées, you can start watch it today. The next Rencontre will be on March 30th with the new Consul of France in San Francisco, Frédéric Jung. Merci tout le monde. Thank you, everyone. Check our website. We have more events during the Francophonie. There is also the French Fest on Sunday. We will be there. Other people will be there. Dario will be there. Please come see us. Merci tout le monde. Stay safe.
Dario is a great star in Los Angeles. You don't want to miss that.
I'm not as big as Philippe Huneault.
Merci tout le monde.
Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir. Bonne soirée.
Thank you guys. Nice to see you.
Au revoir.
Bye bye.